Welcome everybody to what is it? November 29th, 6 p.m. Imagine Girdwood regular meeting. I'll just read the top couple lines. Guiding Girdwood land use, creating a framework for the future of Girdwood. The mission of Imagine Girdwood is to fund and complete a transparent, inclusive review of the Girdwood Comprehensive Plan to guide Girdwood land use in an orderly and understandable process that is respectful of all views. And I call this meeting to order. And I am Amanda Sassy. I'm the chair of Imagine Girdwood. And we'll, Holly, if you wouldn't mind running through the participants, everyone could introduce themselves, please.
Okay, we'll start with Barb.
Hi, this is Barbara Cruz. I'm chair of Trails Committee, and Paul's here with me as well.
Welcome.
Why don't we go to Carolyn next?
Hi, Carolyn Brodeen, a Girdwood resident and interested in all this. Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll go to Tim Cabana next.
Hello, Tim Cabana. Thought I better check in, see what you guys are up to.
Okay, we'll go to Deborah next.
While I'm working.
Hi, it's Deborah Krogan.
Hi, Deborah. Okay, Ed.
Ed Harris with Imagine Girdwood, currently driving.
Okay. Aaron.
Erin Eaker, committee member, Imagine Girdwood.
Jen.
Jennifer Wingard. I'm GBOS co-chair, but I'm here as a community member.
Sabrina.
Sabrina Hamilton. Honestly, I just saw this in a flyer and was like, this is interesting. I want to learn more. And resident.
Welcome. Okay, and go ahead, Daniel.
Hi, everybody. My video is starting. My name is Daniel McKenna Foster. I'm a long-range planner at the municipality. Girdwood is sort of my area, so I'm here. Happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
And I'm Holly Spoth Torres. I'm with Huddle, and I'm the consultant working on the plan with you. Yeah, happy to be here tonight.
Thank you. And I think, did Mitch get?
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mitch. I don't know how I missed you. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Mitch Ross, and I'm a member at large of Imagine Girdwood.
Great. Welcome, everybody. We can move to approving the agenda for tonight. So it's the document in front of you, and I would entertain a motion to approve.
This is Erin. I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
This is Ed, second.
Thank you. And we're going to go with the assent. So is anyone opposed to approving tonight's agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on to approval of the minutes for October 25th.
Amanda, I think this is Erin. I think I missed that meeting, so I'm just making sure you have a quorum that you need to approve them.
I think so. Holly, if we could go back to the top there just a little bit. Carolyn, myself, Deborah, Ed. So we have a quorum. Yeah. And Jen Wingard. I think that's, oh, and Mitch Roth. So.
This is Mitch. I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
This is Ed, I'll second.
Thank you. And we're gonna go by assent. So anyone who attended the October 25th meeting has opposed to approving this meeting minutes, please speak up. Okay, hearing none. We're gonna approve the October 25th meeting minutes. And moving on, I think, to reports. I have this pulled up. I can look too. Thank you.
Oh, I just gotta go in here. Sorry.
It's okay. Okay, so one more thing. I forgot because it's kind of new. We've got accepting the written public comments. So in tonight's packet, there were, I believe, 4 comments. And we'll get to that in a minute. So we have the link in the meeting minutes to all the public comments, and then from the official comment period. Then there was some comments that came in afterwards. So those are displayed here from Carrie Hendrich, Tommy O'Malley, just 3, and Brett Wilbanks. So I would entertain a motion to accept these comments.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ed. I think we can go on assent for this. So is anyone opposed to accepting these comments tonight? Okay, hearing no. Oh, no.
And it's not
Nope.
everything. They argue that Neely does not pay competitive wages to Belichick.
Nathan,
100%.
Alice,
Got it.
you're thank you.
I got it.
I thought someone was opposed, so I was just waiting to see. Okay, just an unmuted person. We're gonna approve these accept these comments, sorry, and move on to announcements. It didn't look like we had anything announcements scheduled. And no invited presentations. So information reports, officer and director reports. So I didn't have much to report, but I did have a bit from Mike, who was unable to be here. So from Mike, who is the secretary, Mike Edgington. First of all, he went back through the minutes for the last 12 meetings and identified everyone who is qualified to vote today. So that is that first page of our meeting packet. It lists everyone that is eligible to vote. After attending a meeting, so all those folks who are new this meeting to this year, you're now eligible to vote in the next meeting. And this is going to be important because in January we have board elections. So if anyone is interested in running on the board of Imagine Girdwood, you at least have to be a voting member to run for a seat, and to be able to vote, you also have to have attended at least one meeting in the last 12 months. So January meeting, look forward to some elections. And then we weren't able to identify everyone that necessarily made a meeting, because if they joined late, they weren't called out. If somebody feels like they should be included in this list and they're not, let us know approximately what date or which meeting you attended, so that we can go back and verify and then add you to the list. Would be great. We've accepted our comments, so he had asked me to discuss that, and then he's going to be making some changes to the website, mostly cleaning it up. He's also going to add a frequently asked questions document and a guide to the project deliveries, so deliverables so far, and a time scale for the rest of the work. So look forward to that. Thank you so much, Mike. That is awesome. All of your work is greatly appreciated. Aaron is our treasurer. Do you have any reports tonight?
No, I was just looking back through some emails, and I know that you had submitted for payment from Girdwood Inc. an invoice in November for Huddle for 16,835. I must be out of the loop on some of these invoices because I'm assuming that Girdwood Inc. got paid it, but Holly or
They haven't yet. Okay, I
Diane
will
might know
follow
that.
up. I'm sorry. That
Okay.
was early in this month, so I'm glad to know that. Or
And I
maybe
think
Aaron, if you're able to follow up with Matt, Schechter.
Schechter. Yeah, I just saw that. I don't think we have his anything from him, so I'll follow up with Matt. I was just on an earlier call with him.
Awesome.
And then, but Holly, did you get paid for do you get reimbursed for October?
Yes.
Okay,
Diana did that one, so Matt's just getting the run of things.
okay, well, I'll check in with both of them.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Awesome. Ed, sorry I skipped you. Do you have anything to report, Vice Chair?
Not at this time.
Great. And Mitch, our member at large, did you have anything?
Nope, nothing today.
Awesome, thank you. And now our consultant report, reviewing the progress since October open house.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about two things tonight. The first is I'm gonna walk you through what we've done with the comments so far and how we've kind of processed them into a format with which we're going to start responding and dealing with them, right? And because there were a lot of comments, and it takes us a long time. And I always know this with working in Girdwood, that there's going to be more comments than is typical than other projects. So we kind of plan for that. But I kind of want to walk you through how we're going to process all the comments so that you know what's happening with them. Okay, so I think most of you know how we receive the comments. We receive them in a variety of different ways. There were these comment forms that we handed out at the public meeting. And so we had a handful, I would say maybe 10 to 12 people who responded on these like written comment forms specifically. So we had those comments. We also received a ton of comments via email. The majority of the comments we received were via email. So what we did with those comments, and because what happens, right, is you all have like lots of thoughts and lots of ideas about the land use plan maps. So what we do with them is, so we entered them into a big spreadsheet. Looks like this. Okay. And what we did is, so you see the person who gave us the comment, there'll be, you'll see, sorry, there's a method for how we received the comment. There's the person who gave us the comment. There's the full comment that we received. And then what we do is we pull what's substantive out of that comment, because a lot of times we get things like, you know, like, I've lived in Girdwood for 50 years, and that's important, but that's not a substantive comment for like the content in which we're trying to work on, right? So what we do is we take this original comment and we break it into the multiple substantive comments that there are. And you can see we've done that to, let's see, so let's go all the way to the bottom. Yeah, we're ending up with about 342-ish, like separate different comments. Okay. So then, after we figure out what's substantive or not, and at this point, we're not like, because really remember the public meeting that we that we had was focused on the land use plan maps. So when we're figuring out what's substantive, people had a lot of things to say too about the policies, the goals, the vision, goals, and policy document that has also been around, right? So some of the comments were about the vision and goals and policy document. So then what we did next is we kind of filtered out the comments that were specific to land use. Okay, so this column here are the comments that are specific to land use. Okay, we identified a topic category that the comment is really talking about. Sometimes it's public lands and institutions. That's one of the land use categories. Single family, transportation, parks, high density, values. So there's a lot of topics that people talk about too: trails, view sheds, terminology. Sometimes people don't like the words that we use to describe the land use plan maps. So anyway, then there's a category that we use to park those comments. If there's a location that's specific rather than just a general comment, we note that. So, you know, people had things to say about the Beaver Pond Trail, Hightower, Virgin Creek, that sort of thing. Sometimes it's just a general comment. It's not place specific. Again, this is the column that talks about, and this is to help us understand, this is land use plan related, so that in the future, when we need to start addressing other comments that weren't related to the land use plan map, we can come back to this document and then pull these comments out again. Okay. So then this comment, or this column here, this is kind of a way for us to start coding the comments. And I'm going to open another, I have another document open that I'm going to show you too, because sometimes people use different words, but they're really saying the same thing. And it has to do with density, or it has to do with where they want housing. So this category is us coding the comment in a way that helps us kind of like reduce the 300 plus comments here. But at the same time, this is the column that helps us. I'm going to show you a spreadsheet now that shows you how we've like summarized and distilled the comments down into like specific topics and issues to which we need to respond. But we still want people to be able to track their comments and how we've dealt with them. So this is the column that helps people do that. So let me show you how the next, I think we have this in the Word document. Oh, hold on, I have to find. I'm going to stop share for a second and pull up my next document. Bear with me. Oh yes, here it is. Okay. So now this is the document that we're going to start actually responding to. So instead of a spreadsheet that has like, 300 and plus comments, we've organized it by topic. And then we have the comment code here in this third column. And this ends up being about an 8-page document. So the next step, let's take an example of commercial development. So somebody commented, remove commercial land use designations from Girdwood and increase mixed use development to meet commercial and housing needs. And we've categorized that as CD1. So if somebody wants to understand like where that distilled comment came from, they can go back to this huge spreadsheet here and they can search CD1, right? And they can see where that came from and who made that comment. So, there's a lot of different ways that you can, filter this and use it and understand how we're tracking it. But it was important to us because we know how much you value your comments and how we deal with them. It was important for you to be able to track how that happens. So where we are in the process right now is we're to the point where the comments are organized and distilled and coded. And now we need to work on responding to all of them, because honestly, there's some people want more housing, some people want less housing. That's just an example. That's not a real thing, but some people want a new road, some people don't. And so what we have to do is we have to work to respond to all these comments. And what will happen is this response column will say, concur, no change needed, or we agree, we're going to change the map to look like this, so that you will all understand how we've dealt with these comments. And what we will do then is these two different land use scenarios, which were scenario A and scenario B, will end up being a final one draft land use plan map that ends up being forwarded again through another public process. Okay, I'm gonna stop. But I wanted you all to understand, well, you needed to know the progress that we've worked through since we closed the comment period. So I guess with that, I'll take any questions.
This is Mitch, and I do have a question, but also want to compliment you on organizing all of this. And I guess the question was, does this document include the 3 comments that were received after the deadline?
No, but based on your action tonight, we will add them.
And so one of the comments in particular from Tommy O'Malley about the cemetery, I wondered, is there under your current subjects, did anyone else ask about the cemetery designation?
I think the answer is yes, but why don't we test the system? Yeah.
Okay, so there is.
Yes.
So there is a subject in there already on that topic.
Yeah. So what will happen
Okay,
at that point is, so Mitch, what will happen, so you can see how this works, is we'll add Tommy's comment to this spreadsheet, right? And we'll distill it into the substantive comments that he made. And then we'll code we'll code that specific comment to HLB 7. So it likely won't end up in another, it won't add more or that comment won't add more content to this document, but Tommy will be able to track it, or you all will be able to track it.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I mean, the real guts of all of this is going to happen when we start responding to the comments, right? Because we haven't done that yet. I mean, that's when you're all really going to have opinions about how we respond to the comments, especially since we're seeing, like, sometimes half the people feel one way and half the people feel the other way, and we're just going to have to figure out how to address that. So anyway, that's where you're all really going to start having opinions. And I hope to, and our next meeting is less than a month away. I think it's on the 20th, right? I hope to have the bulk of that work at least drafted so that we can get into that a little bit more. We're not going to be able to get into all of it. Like really, really part of your next review of this whole process will be for yourselves to look at this process and this document and give us opinions about how you feel we've dealt with them. I get a sense that there's going to be things that are straightforward that we can just respond to. But I think my intention for next month is to maybe have some discussion topics around the things where we don't see a clear path forward. So anyway, I think we'll spend some time on December 20th talking about that.
I really appreciate your accommodation and yeah, just being as transparent as possible. So
yeah.
And Mitch, go ahead.
Is the spreadsheet or some version of it available, or will it be available on the website?
It will be, but I think what we'll do is, or what I'd like to do is I'd like to take a stab at starting to respond to things, and then maybe next month, and maybe we can, like, maybe Amanda, we can set the goal of sharing some information like a little bit in advance of the next meeting so that people can have some time to like really go through it before the next meeting.
So you think a week before I can reach out and just see if you're ready?
Yeah, and whether I'm ready or not, I can at least share where I'm at.
I'm setting myself a reminder because if not, yeah. I will forget.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Mitch. I don't want to do it yet because I still want to keep working on it, and I still have to add, like, I don't know. It's just like, if, for example, if this goes out and Tommy O'Malley's like, "Where's my comments?" Right? Anyway, I need to add Tommy O'Malley's comments and the others that were.
Right, that sounds pretty reasonable, and the basic strategy being to categorize either consensus or not consensus on each subject according to some threshold, and then pick out the ones that seem the most evenly split that are going to require the most conversation, and just have sort of the main ones that you've identified by next month.
Yeah, like here's one already. Industrial land use is in a favorable location along the Seward Highway. Industrial land use along the Seward Highway would create an unwelcoming entrance to Girdwood. So, you know, that's an example, just to start. So yeah, and I mean, I think you all know this. It's like these are issues, they're gonna be big conversations to have. They're gonna be issues we're gonna have to talk about. And I don't think it's not always bifurcated like either or. Like sometimes the solution is some sort of compromise. We just need to start thinking through what that is. And the thing that is cool about that is it feels like we're spending a lot of time on the comments, but what's really cool about that to me is that you start thinking about the implementation plan, which is, you know, the next step. It's writing the plan and developing the implementation plan. And so as we're thinking about how we're going to address these comments, we're actually thinking about strategies to do things.
So that kind of is a great leading into the next item, and we're kind of already talking about it, where our next steps are going to look like reviewing the response and December 20th discussion, and then potentially have a draft map being produced soon after, the final draft map, still draft, final draft. And then implementation plan. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, so again, this is like, I mean, I know Mike said that he was gonna create, or who, you're gonna create some sort of like fact sheet or next steps or, this is a very detailed spreadsheet that talks about that, and I will work with you all to distill it so that it's not so detailed. And this is just kind of what we use internally to like help us manage the whole project, right? But so, you know, we're still kind of floating up here in task 1. Well, task 1 and task 3, because remember, Agnew Beck is, you know, like also working on their data analysis too. So, draft land use plan maps, that's what we presented at the public workshop in October. This here is the thing that is taking longer, the community workshop summary, which is fine. Because I think it's important to you all for us to really spend time with the comments. So, and there, you can see there's buffer built into this. So what's happening next, you know, like on a parallel path, Agnew Beck is working on the population, employment, and housing report and analysis. They have the comments from the last meeting we had and from the public meeting, and they're working on the final report. So the population, employment, and housing report will end up being like a detailed appendix to your plan, but we will also pull out relevant items from that plan that end up being the body of it. So I think they're shooting toward the end of December for that. So you'll start to see drafts of that soon. So from now really until the end of January, what we're doing is we're working on an implementation strategy, policy strategy. These are all the recommendations and the things that work to implement your land use plan map and implement your plan. And we're developing the plan. So really the goal is to get a draft version of the plan to the planning department for an internal review the 1st of February, so that we can release a public review draft to the public at the end of February, so that you're kind of like all throughout March and April, you'll be having committee meetings. You'll see it being presented at the land use committee. You'll see it being presented here. You'll see it being presented at GBOS, HLB Advisory Commission. So there's like this big chunk of public review and comment period happening here. And the goal is to get, take, so you have the public review draft and you incorporate the changes that you need to make into the plan at that point. And the goal is to get to the version of the plan that goes to the Planning and Zoning Commission toward the end of June. Feels like a long time, but the way that your committee processes work in Girdwood, it actually, it does take that amount of time because you have a process by which you have to review these things at two meetings. So, and they kind of have to happen in order. So, that's why it's kind of taking a long time in March and April to do that. Sorry to the 2 people who I just let in. You might have been in the waiting room a while. I was flapping my jaw.
You were telling us such good information.
So,
but this is being recorded, so everyone can go back and view it if they missed something.
Yeah. So, I mean, for all your purposes, that was a lot of detail about what's happening, but for all your purposes, what you need to know is that at December, we're going to talk at the December Imagine Girdwood meeting, we're going to talk about specific discussion items that have come out of the public comment, all the public comments, right? We'll likely do that in January too. but you should be looking for a public review draft at the end of February. You know, the planning department, they need some internal review before the document goes public. And so that public review draft comment period will be end of February to at least the end of March. So you'll have a long time to review a public review draft.
Great. Any questions on these next steps for Holly? Holly, is there anything from task 4 that the committee or board can help with?
Yeah, like I wonder if I wonder if we should schedule a special meeting in January, if that's possible, so that you would end up having 2 meetings in January.
Yeah. Let's see here. January, our meeting in January. Oops, sorry. Oh my gosh. Is not scheduled.
Could I suggest the second Wednesday in January?
I would love that.
Then we'd have the 2nd and the 4th.
Yeah.
So that's January 10th. 6 p.m. like our regular time.
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine Girdwood work session or special meeting?
I mean, it can be whatever you want it to be.
Mike, is there just a difference between the two? Like, does it matter?
I think the probably only difference is typically we could vote to make decisions in a special meeting. So I'd make it a special meeting because we can always choose not to.
Okay. Alrighty, we'll add that to our list of upcoming meetings, and then I guess the 24th would be our regular meeting. So I hadn't scheduled in my calendar yet all the way out past December, so here we go. Awesome.
So I know that, I don't know, this was a lot of me talking tonight. Usually we have a little bit more engagement, but I don't know. I think it's fine. I think it's important for you all to understand like the process that we're using. And we haven't, you know, we've only set it up. We haven't like responded to any comments yet, actually. So that's the next step for us.
Great. Mitch?
So under task 5, once the public draft comment period begins, then is that public comment period governed by the municipality as opposed to the Huddle contract?
So the public review draft is a little different. It's like, it's kind of the process this and Daniel, I'm going to say what I interpret and tell me if I'm incorrect, but the process, the public review process that's governed by the municipality will really be once we like submit the application to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I think the public review draft is an extra step. Can you weigh in, Daniel?
Yeah, basically whatever happens within GBOS is sort of your own thing. I think it's only once you come to the planning department and say, okay, now we're ready to submit this to the Planning and Zoning Commission for it to eventually be adopted by the assembly, that it starts in that process. So GBOS could be talking about it for, I don't know, as long as you want, basically. And then, I mean, even sometimes, you know, you can go to planning and zoning and GBOS could say, hey, we think we need more time. I mean, they could postpone it, but it's only once you go to the planning department to say, okay, now we want to start this on the track that slowly starts moving towards an assembly decision, that it goes into that process. And that usually, like, you might, it takes like a month or maybe 2 months to go from the time you submit it at the planning department to the time it gets on the agenda for planning and zoning. And then it's usually a month after that that it goes to the assembly. At the
But
minimum.
it really is like worth your time to like deal with as much of the comments that you can before you officially enter the planning and zoning process.
Yeah, if you go to planning and zoning and you say, and you can give this all in you can basically give it all to staff and they'll review it and they'll probably just say, well, it meets all the criteria that it's supposed to meet, and here's the comments they saw throughout, and here's how they were addressed. And then if you've addressed all the comments, I don't even know who else might comment, right? At that point, everybody should probably have had their say and had it either accommodated or explained or something. So, but yeah, the more you can show to say, yeah, this process was done and we did it in a good way, then planning and zoning is just sort of like, okay, they did all the criteria, what the code says. Doesn't seem like there's any big issues that we really need to get involved with. They would probably say, okay, yeah, this should go to the assembly for them to look at.
Well, that doesn't really answer my question. And we're talking about the same thing, this very first line under task 5, which is the starting point for task 5, the public review draft comment period. And my question was really just, well, I think Holly answered and said that this would be run by the munis process. But I'm not quite sure what comments are needed. I think you sort of alluded to the fact that if we do a good job of responding to the comments in this earlier phase, maybe that can minimize comments. But are we or would we still be in the position that basically you could comment, yes, we agree with the draft plan that's been submitted, and so people can weigh in and support it, hopefully, if we come up with a consensus on the land use plan that we submit, or what's the purpose of that comment, public review draft comment period?
Because I think it's, what's the word I want to use? The only word I could think of was behoove. I think it behooves you as a community to like keep your discussions about the issues that you value most locally, right? You can control that comment period through me, right? Whereas once you initiate the planning and zoning comment process, you're in the planning and zoning Title 21 realm. So we don't have to do this, but I think it's in your best interest to do it. We're going to go to Mike first, and then we'll go to Daniel.
I think I'm probably going to end up saying the same thing as you did, Holly, that the public review draft comment period from during March is about us as a community weighing in, discussing things when we still have, and then we still have Holly to sort of respond to the comments in our content. Once it goes to planning and zoning, decisions are made by people on planning and zoning committee. I don't think any of whom are from Girdwood and are all appointed by the mayor. And then people on the assembly, 10 of which don't represent us at all in terms of voting. And so the decisions are effectively out of the community's hands once it's been submitted to planning and zoning. So if we can submit something to planning and zoning that the community as a whole agrees with, then we should have minimal opportunity for people outside the community to change things. So that's the way I would describe it, putting a political hat on the situation.
Mm-hmm. Daniel, do you want to add to that? And then we'll go to you, Amanda.
Yeah, and I'll put maybe a more positive spin, but say once it is in planning and zoning hands, if somebody says, we want to make a change now you have to go to the planning department pretty much to have them sort of make that change, right? So it is, they're probably going to make the change that you want, but you just have somebody else doing it, because once it goes to the planning department, it's sort of their responsibility and they have to usher it through. So yeah, if you can get more of this stuff done and more of the edits done before it ever goes to the planning department, then the PZC will probably say, okay, looks like everybody did, everybody's cool with it. Planning, yeah, just send it on to assembly, and then nobody has to do it. Because I mean, all the time, planning commission tells us as planners, like, we want you to make this change and this change and this change. And so we make that, but that's us making it. And again, I don't know if there's anybody in the planning department from Girdwood, or even if they were, I mean, it's just like the person from the planning department would be calling Girdwood and saying, okay, this is the change we've been instructed to make. Does this, so yeah, really just I'm echoing what everybody else is saying, but just it is like you can still make changes, but it's just you're going to have somebody else making the change for you. It's sort of like somebody else will be holding the pen. You can still tell them, oh, write it this way and use this cursor, but you don't have the pen anymore. They can still make the changes for you, but it's just easier to do it yourselves and then submit the package once it's already done.
Are you sure that was more positive, Daniel?
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't sorry, I didn't mean to throw you under the bus.
Okay, we'll go to Amanda next, and after Amanda, we'll go to David.
Thanks. So line 26, the public review draft comment period is not a muni-led thing. That is us as a committee doing receiving comments and responding to them. It only becomes a muni-led comment period at line 37, Planning and Zoning Commission. That's when we've released it, and they will do their own comment period. And then my second thing really quick. Oh no, I might have lost it.
Oh no.
That was so good. Oh, we as a community said we did not want to be like, this is the reason why we have Imagine Girdwood, or any of this last almost 10 years, you guys, work, is that we did not want the muni to be doing this. We wanted it to be grassroots, community-led effort where, that's why we're doing this. So I'm so stoked that we have more comment period within our, realm of working on it. So, David?
Thank you. Can you hear me? Fine?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Yeah, no, that you kind of answered the question. It sounded like if we are as a community, we're not ready to move it to the plan, the Planning and Zoning Commission, that we'd be able to kind of, okay, we need to work this over some more, have some more, get down, and this particular areas are controversial. See if we can come up with something. I have another question though. Is that right? Is that basically that's an option if we're not there at that time?
That is an option. Yeah, I mean, you just have to remember that, like, you don't have an endless supply of resources for that.
Yeah,
the funding is going to end out or run out.
So
by June.
We've built in at least like some of that, and I'll be very communicative about how we're doing when we actually get there. But
right. Okay. The next question I had was, it wasn't really tongue in cheek. I was going, hey, the sooner the community has an idea of the variety of comments and feelings of our neighbors, then maybe it'll be easier for us to come together. And so it's waiting to see it in February was always kind of, well, why do we need to wait so long if we could? So is there, let me ask you this, how did the comments come in? Were they manageable? Did you guys get scrawlings on maps like what I did? Or did you actually get...
David, you unfortunately came in a little late, David. We actually spent a good deal of our time already talking about the comment period. Holly went over the awesome work they're doing to organize and distill the comments. And then if you want to just really quick, Holly, would you mind just going to that Word document to kind of give them an idea of what it looks like? And what
you don't want to tell David to just watch the recording?
Yeah, no, that's
I'm kidding. I'm
yeah.
kidding.
I
I do it.
But you can tell me. That's fine.
One more reminder for all of us. It's so beautiful. I just want to see your beautiful work.
You guys are so nerdy in like a really good way.
I love Excel spreadsheets and this use of the other one, the Word document.
Okay.
Please.
Just
this is how
David,
they distilled it.
This is all the comments. If you want to read what all your friends and neighbors have to say about everything, you can go here and do that. Not yet, but eventually.
Yeah, January.
In January.
I should just
No.
point out the packet itself has already been published, so that document is available to anyone to read now. The contents, not in
Yeah,
index.
the actual content of all the comments are publicly available on the website. How we're organizing them aren't going to be available until like maybe the week before our next meeting. So
Okay, that answers my question. I was just curious if, you know, how they came in and you guys are able to make heads or tails of everything.
yeah, I mean, we're making good heads and tails of all of it. So there's going to be a couple of different spreadsheets for you to be able to use and search. What we're going to be doing between this month and next month is starting to respond to comments. So
Right, yeah, like, and that seems like a tough job, because I mean, if someone feels a certain way about a land use here, I mean, because, you know, what we can do, hey, that's how you feel, and these other people feel this way, so so, but it'll be a good exercise for sure. Thank you for that. Thank you. That
Great. Well, anything else? I think we're kind of getting down there. It's a great short little meeting. Okay. Hearing nothing, no questions, we're gonna move on to, we got no unfinished business, no new business. Public comments. So these are public comments. Please keep them to items that are not otherwise on the agenda that we had time to discuss. And we're gonna limit public comment to 3 minutes. But does anyone have any public comment for us tonight? Okay, that was 11 seconds. It is so hard to wait 11 seconds, but and it was fast 11
if
seconds.
no one's got one, I'd like to make one public comment.
All
This is
right, Tim.
Anna.
Yep.
It's, you know, I didn't put a public comment in on, you know, I've been kind of staying out of this thing, but I do have to bring up the New Girdwood access road, where it was just taken off the old plan and putting on a new plan. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but in 2020, I went to the land use committee twice, you know, the October and November, and to the GBOS October and November. And I went to get this, the end of that New Girdwood access road taken off my property because it's causing serious problems. I can't get a wetland permit with it on there. They're just not allowing me. They came back, the latest thing, after 2.5 years, and told me that, you know, that's what's holding up my wetland permit from my development. So they just don't like the idea of that wide road on that wetland. And so I did go back to those deals, and there are 4 other roads that they could connect to, or they could just plain do what they have said they in the other plans, and the transportation plan, and the original GAP, you know, that where it's not an actual necessity in the Girdwood in the Girdwood plan on page 82. It says in there, before you build this road, it should begin with improvements to existing roads, and then transit service before, and then a corridor study before it's even taken. And if this is probably the proper time to say that road really should not be built. At the GBOS and the land use committee meetings in 2020, it was well attended. It was a 28-0 vote to not have that road. So that's a pretty substantial vote in Girdwood. Trying to get 28-0, trying to get a bunch of people in Girdwood to all agree to anything is almost impossible. So I would just like to make that publicly known and say that, you know, I really do not need the end of that road going through my property. It's really causing me a lot of grief.
All right. Perfect timing, 3 minutes. Thank you, Tim, for your comment.
Yep. Thank you very much. And thank you for your time.
Yeah. Any other public comment? Okay, I wanted to really quick go back to the comments that we accepted tonight. And now that Mike's here, he can help me answer that question. that I have about the public comments written in. I appreciate, Holly, you saying that you would add them to the sheet. I think that we're trying to, okay, we're getting comments like just general comments about our process or questions coming in between meetings. And we want to make sure that they are known to the public. So I think that accepting the written public comments as written here in our agenda is going to be a regular thing. And it's more accepting them into our record that people have made a comment to us. Mike, could you
Yeah,
correct
but
me?
think of it, it's basically the same as accepting, as approving minutes. It's a ministerial thing. So we're just formally saying, yes, these are part of the record, but it's a way of making a formal statement about that. Some of these comments did say were addressed to the land use maps, but were late. I suppose we as a body could decide to add them to the comments for the map. I mean, I think there are only 2 or 3 of them, or we can just accept them as general public comments. I don't know if it matters.
I think it's okay to just add them. It's not like it's like 100 comments, right?
So I'll just say them as a just to make it formal, and I'll make a motion that we add those additional late coming comments to the record for the land use maps.
I'll second it. It's Ed.
Great. Let's do a roll call vote for this one. How about, since it's not under our call to order? Yeah.
Okay. I don't.
I can do it.
No, I can do it. I just don't think I understand who can vote and who can't.
Well, let me pull up the
It's like a cooking show. Here's something we prepared earlier.
meeting minutes or the meeting packet. And
I have that, right?
I think as you go through, I can just, verify as we go. Does that work?
Yeah, we're going to start with you, Amanda, because you're on top. So
yes,
Amanda.
Yes.
Okay. David.
What's the question? I missed you there for a second. Is it, do we incorporate these comments into what? I'm sorry.
There were comments that were received after the comment period, just like a handful of them. And you're voting yes if you would like me to add them.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
We'll go to Mitch next.
Yes.
Okay. Barbara and Paul.
Yes, and Paul's downstairs, so I guess he's not voting.
Okay. Can Tim vote?
We should put these in alphabetical order. I don't see Tim.
They're in alphabetical order of surname. Last name.
Oh, by last name. There you go. Thank you. No, I don't see Tim on here.
Okay.
But now he will be.
Mike.
Yes.
Carolyn.
Yes.
Where am I? Brianna.
Yes.
Deborah. Ed.
Sorry, this is Deborah. I'm going to abstain on that.
Okay.
This is Ed. Yes. Yes.
Jen.
Abstain.
Jody. I don't think oh, Jody, you're on the list. Jody. I don't think. Okay. Did I miss anyone? I don't think you can vote yet, Sabrina, but you will in the future.
Okay. Great. Oh, Crystal, I guess. But is she? Yeah. Crystal's on there.
I just joined and so I don't even know the question. So I I don't know what we're voting on, so I'll abstain.
That's okay. And then Aaron, we're voting on the incorporating the comments into the comment period, even though they were after.
Yeah, I'll vote yes.
Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 yeses. So the motion carries.
Great. Thank you all for doing that little exercise. It was a little painful, but we got it. But thank you, Mike, for putting together this list. That made it really helpful to figure out. Okay, so I think we're on to next meeting is going to be December 20th. We'll try to get out the documents that Holly's working on for people to review, hopefully a week, 5 days before the 20th. And then we're going to have a special meeting on the 10th, January 10th. And then our next regular scheduled meeting will be January 24th. All of those meetings are at 6 p.m. So, no other comments. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
It's nice to have the meetings.
So moved.
Okay, get a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Thanks. Awesome, we're adjourned. Thank you so much, everyone, Holly and Daniel specifically and Mike, all the hard work y'all are doing. I really appreciate it.